So Wizmaker sent me this little desktop CNC machine a couple months ago, and now I have been using the crap out of this thing, and it has some fantastic features and way above your average desktop CNC. But then I found a couple of issues, and I wanted to try to figure out why I was having those issues, and see if there was a solution, if it was me or if it was the machine, because I'm not going to just do a fluff piece. And none of the other reviewers I've seen pointed out any of these issues. So let me show you what I have come to the conclusion of. One of the crazy things about this machine was that when I got it, I opened up the box, and within about 10 minutes, I had it together and I was able to start doing some projects. So this was a file that came on it, it's just their little logo. Print that out, no problem. The first problem I had was the USB drive was corrupt. So I didn't have their typical files, but this little dragon right here is a file that I have got from a different machine and ran it. And I mean, this has got a pretty deep relief here, but it printed out perfect. They finally sent me their files. They had this little eagle. I'm not sure what I did wrong here, something, because it's been a while. But then I reran it a second time, thing printed out perfect. Now with the machine, it only comes with these little V-bits. It comes with 3 of the 0.2 and 3 of the 0.4. So when I first got it, the machine come with the 300 watt motor, and this machine was just chewing up and spitting out everything I threw at it. I mean, in a good way. I mean, it was running through. They did send me over here the 500 watt motor, and I put it on. It takes the same mounting bracket. You just loosen up the 2 screws here. They look almost the same, but as you can see, that one's just a little bit taller. And I did not see a huge improvement because this little motor is already a 300 watt, which on a lot of these little desktop CNC machines come with like a 100 watt or 60 watt even motor. The 300 watt is the upgrade on a lot of these little desktop CNC machines that this one comes stock with. And so now the 500 watt is definitely an improvement, but it's not as big of an improvement as I was expecting, because I didn't expect it to be so powerful with the basic motor that it came with. Now, kind of while we're here on that same train of thought, see this right here, these are linear rails, and then you got a screw. A lot of these little desktop machines have belts on them. So this has got double linear rails with lead screws, which is what your high-end machines come, and that's going to get you, the most accurate. This thing is rock solid. So that was one thing that I noticed about this machine, was that it was just so rock solid. So I got a piece of walnut here, and I started running this thing, and I was increasing my speed and my depth, and I think I went 2, 4, 6 millimeters deep with an 8-inch. It was an upcut. I should have did a downcut so that I would have got a smoother, but that's the bit I had. And this thing was just ripping through, not slowing down, because the machine itself is so solid, whereas I've had other machines that you start trying to get there and it was bogging down. So I got this here, and then I started increasing speeds. So I was running these big long pockets at increasing speeds, and I was just going to unrealistic speeds. So I pulled down the firmware and looked through the firmware, and in the firmware, it's got it set at 2,000 millimeters a minute as the max speed for the machine. So no matter where I was putting in, 3,000, 4,000, and then it was looking the same, because I could not get the thing to bog down. It just was cutting everything I was putting at it and doing just a fantastic job at it. So they have the firmware set at what the machine can do. Now you can always go in there and change that if you wanted to, but 2,000 for a desktop machine is fantastic. Now, once again, this is something you may not realize, but a lot of these desktop machines do not come with a onboard controller. You have to buy that separate, or some of them you can't even buy that separate. And I was able to use a USB drive, and run the machine completely on its own. I did not have to have a laptop for it. And so that was working out great. Now, as you see this thing here, it's a magnetic, it sticks on this back here. And so with this wire, because of the kink in it, it always wants to kick it off. So I'm actually going to reprint a 3D back in here that'll go in those holes and just slot, down in there. But I mean, it is great that you do have this offline controller to where you do not have to have a laptop. So that cuts off your expense of having to have a dedicated laptop to run your machine. All right, so on our little control box here, we have our wire going to our offline controller, which we can unplug that. We don't have to have it on. And we can just plug your computer straight into our USB-C here. We have a USB drive, which is what I had started doing all my testing with. I would just load my files straight into the USB drive and run them here. You've got your power supply, and now you have a 0 to 10 here, and then you have a signal controller. The signal controller is, with the upgraded motor, it needs more power. So we have a separate power box. I'll show you that. And this connects into it so that the machine turns it on and off, which is fabulous, because I have, again, had other machines that you added more powerful spindle on, and you just have to turn it on manually. The machine itself can't turn it on and off. The air assist is going to be for laser. I didn't do anything with the laser. I think if you're going to do laser, do a laser. And then you've got the tool setter. And what the tool setter is going to be where you can place this little probe here on your bed, and it goes down and touches off, and that way you can get your 0. So now this is the power supply for the 500 watt module. It's got a reset button on it. Now it does not control the speed. You have to control that manually, but you've got your power supply here, which is a lot bigger. And then you have your two wires here, the one wire that's going to go to your motor. So this just plugs right into the motor. And then you have the second wire that goes over there to the control signal, and that turns the machine on and off. All in all, fantastic. The things that I would love to see is if this was had the 0 to 10 so that it could do the variable speed, instead of having to do your manual here. And then it would also be nice if it had some sort of mount that would mount this right to the side of the machine. While we're on accessories, this has to be the best dust collector for one of these little CNC machines. So you've got this little clear housing here, so you can see as you're CNCing, your sawdust that's being picked up. This little vacuum here, this is all you need, because I have not had to clean this out any. It has, let's pop the top off here. You can see the filter still looks very clean. There's almost nothing in there. And you can see how much is in this little tub down here. This is solid. And we got a lot of fine powder, because I was running a small 0.5 millimeter V-bit, and I was running it at a 0.05 step over. So it was putting off some really fine dust, and this thing has caught it all. Just absolutely fantastic. And so it comes with this little attachment here. So this actually works great if you're just needing to vacuum up off the table, because that's what you got, is a long flat. So this definitely works great with that. It also has the chute. I haven't been using the chute because I was filming, and but it actually has 2 pieces that you can, with the magnets. So it would be easy to pull off, change out your bits, and then snap right back into place. I really love that. And with this design, that's the actual little clip that it came with. But with this design, it's going to let the chips and all flow much better than some of the other ones I have. So another really fantastic feature. And the crazy thing about it is, for a dust collector, this thing is just ridiculously cheap. And while we're talking about ridiculously cheap accessories, this chuck for this 4th axis, I mean, this thing is solid. You got a solid metal chuck here. You got everything is machined. Absolutely fabulous quality. and then the wire actually plugs in on our little control board over on the side. This goes right into the side of it and works fantastic. It even came with a extra little plug that you could plug this in if you had a different type of machine with the wires, but it's already pre-wired on this machine where you can just plug it in. Another great feature, and it's all powered off of the stock power supply, so you didn't have to have a separate power supply for it. All right, while we're talking about the rotary, now if you're coming off of a square block of wood, now his shoulder is almost flush right there. So this is about the biggest you can go. And as you see, I've only got just a little bit of room underneath the corner right here. And then also you have the top up here. So you're not going to be able to do like big bowls and stuff and hook into here. Now, as you see, I needed this size block of wood to print him out that big. The chucks would not open up that wide, so I just trimmed down the base so that I could lock this into the chuck and then make our cut. So the machine itself, I mean, the detail on this is just absolutely, phenomenal. I'm not even sure, I don't think this is the best one. I did several different ones trying to get the settings all figured out. No, that one, it wasn't either. That one had this one here. And I don't know if it's showing up on the screen or not, just the detail and the beard and then the face. But I didn't do anything except for, once I took it off the machine, I poured a little Danish oil on top of it. And that's the only finishing I've done on this. All right, so let's get into my biggest pet peeve with these desktop machines, is that none of them I have seen comes with the software for you to, right out of the box, to be able to take an STL file, slice it up like you would, say, with a 3D printer and print off stuff. You have to go in and buy some software. Now, the software that does, many of them that does your regular CNC don't do the fourth axis. So if you're thinking about getting the fourth axis, you need to consider that from the get-go, because sometimes the software is as much or more than what the machine is. So that is with all these desktop CNCs, but at the same time, the next step up from these, say, $500 to $1,500 machines, there's a huge jump into a $3,000 or $4,000 machine. So I get they're trying to keep that cost low, but if they could somehow get a simple slicer that would go with some of these printers, that would absolutely be the #1 selling desktop CNC, no questions asked. Fantastic that this thing has an offline controller. When I was doing just my normal carves, doing these flat carves, even some of these high detail but weren't real big, the high detail, I didn't go back and look at how many lines of G-code they were. I had 0 issues. And when I started doing the rotary, I started having some issues. When I would put in the USB drive, I could run a rough and pass, everything would go good. But then when I would do the finish pass, it would run a little bit and then go back to origin, So I thought maybe it was the software. I bought new software, got it to, I was doing the same thing. I ended up plugging my laptop in, and then it was able to run without any issues. But I was doing smaller pieces. So then whenever I increased the size up to the bigger piece, and I think it was like this one here, I did a 0.2 step over, and it was able to run, but I got a little fuzzy there, so I wanted to drop it down to like a point, I forget what, 0 something, to do a real fine step over. And when I changed it to that, then we would have the issue that it would go about halfway across, and then it would get to here, and then it would be like it would rotate. It would drop up and down, rotate, instead of the fast moving, the speed greatly reduced, and I was getting some different, flashing codes here on the light. So I think I had overloaded what the actual chip in here can process. It could have been I was using the candle as the G-code sender, but like I say, it just seemed like it was whenever I had increased that file. And now I did go back and look, and there was over 1 million lines of G-code on the file that I was using. So it could have been that, I was just using such a massive file to get the high detail and doing such a small step over, because I've seen many other reviews and nobody has mentioned that, but they were doing more basic models that didn't have near about the million lines of code. So that was really my only issue. But the great thing about it is that it still put it out. It just slowed it down. So what could have been, say, a 2-hour cut, because I had put this at 2,000 millimeters a minute at the max speed, and so it was spinning on through, but it was still cutting at perfect quality. And then just once it got about halfway, then it started slowing down significantly, and then took another 5-6 hours to finish up the last half. So overall though, I think for a desktop CNC, that this is going to do the average of what most people's going to want to do with, and it's going to do it better than, with more accuracy than your average desktop CNC. Because I literally was trying to push, and most of the times I push these and run them at their max speed, and it gets to where the bit will bog down and it won't cut. So on this one, I did get a little chatter sometimes when I was running it like a 3 millimeter in, this is ambrosia maple. So I was doing a, it doesn't come with it. You have to buy your own collet, but this is one of these, I think it's an ER11 collet. And so I bought a couple of 1/4 inch collets. So I was running 1/4 inch bits in this little 500 watt so that I could get the bigger bit. And so I was doing a 1/4 inch round over bit, and I was dropping at 3 millimeters in maple, doing 2,000 millimeters a minute, the max speed, and this thing cut it absolutely no problem. Now I did get just a little bit of chatter, but again, I was running this at max speed with a 1/4 inch bit, and it was like, no big deal. So I found that if I was doing about a 2 millimeter drop down at about 1,000 millimeters a minute, this thing actually cut really good in this hard maple. So that was fantastic. So if you're in the market for one of these small desktop CNCs, I didn't actually run this with aluminum just because I didn't have any handy. But because this machine is so rigid, I have no doubt that this thing will be able to cut aluminum and non-ferrous metals with no problem. I mean, again, this thing is, I don't understand why they put such high quality. I mean, they built this thing so that it can handle super high stresses and stay super accurate, but yet they don't have the more powerful spindle. However, with it being as powerful as it is, that running at 2,000 millimeters a minute, I wasn't able to bog this 500 watt motor spindle down. So that's really surprising that it is able, with the smaller motor, to do as much as it actually can. If we were to get a bigger spindle on here, this thing would be getting on up there into a hole that, 1,000, 4-figure price category. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any suggestions, because I'm by no means run these things the optimal. I usually set them to the fastest that they'll go, and once they start messing up, then I slow them down just a little bit, and that's how I get my settings. Is I try to run the max all the time. I know that's not necessarily ideal on a lot, and many of these machines can't handle that, but definitely this little machine surprised me. So until next time, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.